as I said just in my introductory remarks this morning, the fast-track projects that were released on Sunday afternoon, I don't think have been given anywhere near their due for the import that they will play over the next 3 years in New Zealand. The fast-track approvals bill has been changed, but it was expected, I think, to go through all its phases by the end of this month. And then attached to it is Schedule 2. These 149 projects that will qualify. Now, there is an assumption amongst some in the mainstream media that if you're on the list, it's automatically approved. Of course it's not. It's got to go through a process, and these expert panels, which will not include ministers of the Crown, that's one of the changes that was made as a result of the submissions process, they can set as many conditions, they can decline it, or they can just say tick. But it's going to go through a process. One of those who led the rally against the fast-track approvals bill, in fact, as I remember, there was a hikoi from the Wellington train station to Parliament, which isn't very far, I have to be honest with you, was our next guest. And our next guest is the Te Runanga o Toa Rangatira Chief Executive, and one of the leading members of Ngāti Toa, Helmut Modlik, and he joins us now. Helmut, lovely to have you on the show. Welcome to it, mate.
Yeah, thanks for having me, but can I just correct you for a minute, Michael?
You go for your life.
Helmut is the CEO and was a pivotal figure in the hikoi that we had, but my name's Rawiri Faulkner and I'm the...
Oh, of course you are, Rawiri. No, that is entirely my fault. You are absolutely right.
So, you're putting me on too high a pedestal there, Michael, for me to be the...
Then you boss. Tell me, Rawiri...
You've got the pedestal.
Yeah, I apologise. Of course, I'm reading the wrong notes. So you, of course you're not. I looked at you and I thought, oh my God, you've put on weight. But that's not.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of things that I am that the boss is, and one of them's about 40 kilos heavier.
Oh God, I've never done that before, mate. I'm so sorry. Well, that is so good.
Well noted.
Good on you, mate. You could have walked away, but good on you. Thank you. Hey, listen, well, explain your position, could you, Rawiri, at Ngāti Toa, because you guys have been one of the primary, were one of the primary, I guess, protests or protesters against the original bill. But what's your position with them, with Ngāti Toa?
As I said earlier, I lead the environment and cultural team here at Ngāti Toa and also do some of our settlements work as well. I think it's important to understand the context by which the hikoi or the aukati or the march that took place earlier in the year, and what drove that was a big part of that was about the way in which the government were pushing through fast-track consenting legislation that didn't take into account some of the key and critical things that we as an iwi felt needed to be front and centre of that particular bill's consideration. And that led us to then, we felt so strongly about that it led us to decide that we needed to make a stand because we weren't happy with the way things were rolling out. And although some changes have been made, which have been welcomed, there are still a lot of things in the bill that are flawed.
Okay. Having said that, my understanding now is that you are not opposed to the process. In actual fact, there are a number of iwi-based projects here amidst that list of 149. I guess you'll be taking a view, we'll see how it goes, will you?
No. So
no?
We've never been opposed to development. So just to make it clear, Ngāti Toa as an iwi also support development that's done in a way that's sustainable and enhances the mana or the well-being of our natural environment. So the fact that iwi are on there is something that Ngāti Toa has never been opposed to, because sustainable development is part of the aspirations that we have for the future. but that does not mask the flaws that exist within the bill. So I think it's important not to conflate those two things, right? There's the projects that have been recommended and nominated, and then there is the bill or the proposed bill and what the bill is enabling or seeking to enable, which are two separate things. So supportive of anything that can sustainably be undertaken, but I still hold some doubt whether that is the case with regards to many that are on the list.
Let's be clear about
and the issues around the bill still exist.
Yeah, and the bill's going to go through irrespective, and it's going to be passed through Parliament by the end of this month. So your concerns are noted, but really they're not going to make an awful lot of difference, are they? The bill will go through in its present form.
My understanding is the bill will be, the process hasn't finished yet, and there's still the opportunity for minor changes or major changes, but my understanding is the bill will go through. Yes, but that's the government's. That's a question for the government rather than for me. But my understanding is the same as yours. Yeah.
One of the projects.
But there are significant issues. Yeah. Sorry, carry on.
That's right. No, one of the projects though I've noticed is the Otaki Maori Racing Club. They've got a development project to construct. I think about 500-600 homes. On a 20-hectare project near Otaki in Wellington. Those are the sort of projects that I guess you'd be welcoming, yeah?
Like I said earlier, we welcome any project that enables an enhancement or does not further degrade the natural environment. And the issue that I have is that I can't point to too many rivers, lakes, streams, coastal environments in this country that have been enhanced through the current legislation, right? So development has, and if I take Ngāti Toa as an example, development since the 1940s, 1950s has led to significant degradation of our harbour. And it continues to this day. That degradation continues. I have not seen any evidence that the fast track approvals bill will make the harbour healthier.
Yeah, but you could make that same argument, couldn't you, to do with the Resource Management Act, when you say that the degradation of the harbour, for example, is a good example. All the developments that have occurred since the 1990s are under the Resource Management Act currently, and all of the complicated processes and supposedly protections that Act provides, yeah?
Yeah, look, I'm not saying that the Resource Management Act is great, and as a commissioner and as a planner myself, I'm not for 1 minute suggesting that the Resource Management Act is 100% great, but the fix to the Resource Management Act isn't to make development even easier without the appropriate environmental safeguards in place. So
yeah, but surely that's the job of the fast track approval, the experts panel. I mean, they have that responsibility under this bill to ensure that the environmental degradation that you talk about doesn't occur. It seems in the legislation.
True. So is that right? So you point me to the ability to decline or impose conditions is very limited in scope in the fast track approvals bill. So I have not seen anything in the fast track approvals bill that says to me, the ability for a panel to decline a consent is a very, very high test, very high test. And you can impose conditions if the context and the environment by which you can do those is right and the settings are not right.
Okay, but so you're suggesting that even though it is the responsibility of the expert panels to consider the environmental consequences of the project that they're required to approve, you're saying that's not good enough?
No, what I'm saying is that expert panel, there are a number of issues, and I don't know how much of a deep dive we want to go into, but what I'm saying is that the scope and the criteria by which that expert panel can decline an activity is very limited. And I'll give you another example.
Though? But isn't that also true, just quietly, under the Resource Management Act and commissioners? I mean, you've been a commissioner yourself, you say.
No. Yeah.
I mean, the fact is that it's not a particularly great power that you've got to turn down under even the Resource Management Act, is it?